Good morning, Laredo, Webb County. I'm Jesus Chugasa, your host of 24/7 Laredo Talk Show. It's a talk show dealing with the real issues affecting Laredo. It's an original, free, and independent news voice about Laredo and the issues around Laredo. Today we do have Alfonso Poncho Casso, who's here to talk to us a little bit about his race. But before you do that, please consider pressing the like button in our Facebook page, 24/7 Laredo, and please press the subscribe button on 24/7 Laredo as well. So you can get further other discussions that we have on Facebook and on the website and on YouTube. And of course, we do have several polls going on at the same time. We have the county judges poll, we have the mayor's race poll. Please make sure that you go into the site and vote your conscience as well. Welcome, Poncho. I'm glad you were able to make it.
Thanks for inviting me.
I'm looking forward to hearing your platform. I've heard some good things out there, and I certainly want to let the public know that you were a councilman just a few years, well, maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, about 20,
and,
yeah.
About 20 years ago. Back in the 1990s.
94 to 98,
And you were part of a group of people who made sure that Laredo got better over the course of the years, got us the loop and got us the bridge, and was able to participate in making sure Laredo was part of a growing city. So I'm glad you're here now and that you're here to take on a new task. We're looking forward to hearing from you. But before we do that, let me ask you, Poncho, you've been in Laredo the last couple of years. You've seen the politics of Laredo.
Well, I got back in 2011, okay. So I've been back now. I got back right after my brother Carlos died of cancer, and so I was gone 12 years. And right
he was a good guy. I knew him.
Yeah, everybody liked Carlos. Yeah, and so I got back in 2011. I was quiet. In fact, I ran into somebody at the bank, one of the major bankers here in town. He goes, "Where you been? Where you been hiding?" I said, "Was I just been, calm, and I just been observing, just watching everything." I did get back and I did run. I threw my name in there just to see what would happen for county commissioner. And
what year was that?
That was in 2011, but I had just gotten here.
Right.
I don't even think I really satisfied the residency requirements at the time, but I barely made it, so I wasn't really here. So I just threw my name in there, see what would happen. I didn't really spend any money. And so then I just kind of stayed back and just kind of observed everything. And it's gotten to the point where I just couldn't, I had to step up. I said, nah, nobody else was going to do it. Nobody else wants to get involved,
How did you do, Poncho? You were involved with city council back in the 90s. And obviously you've kept an eye on the political arena all this time. What drives you, or what got you involved? Was it just your family background, or is it you've always been involved in government? You've always wanted a certain type of government?
I went to work for Chick Kazin, Congressman Kazin, as a congressional intern.
Wow,
that's how I started. Yeah, I was there in 1977.
Wow.
I even have pictures of me with Tip O'Neill, and
really?
Yeah, it was a great experience. So I went there and I spent the whole summer, as a congressional intern, and then I finished,
By the way, he was our congressman here in Laredo back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, he was here for like 20-something or
30 years. He was long-term, very good congressman.
And so I came back, after I graduated from college, I just went to work for the maquiladora industry. I went to work for Sony Corporation, and I was with them for about 8 years. Went to Japan, China, traveled, with them, Hong Kong. And it was a great experience. So I was in the maquiladora industry now, and eventually I was working across the border.
So you're familiar with international trade?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what it takes for?
And now I'm saying that the maquiladoras have been replaced by the maquinitas, and the gas stations have been replaced by the loan sharks. So it's like it's different. It's totally
20 years later,
it's different.
But so you've always had a belief.
But you know what got me involved? What got me involved was I got involved with Dr. Can.
Yes.
That group in the Taxpayers League.
He was a Taxpayer League activist.
And we were opposed to the convention center at that time. And now it's an issue again. And we killed it.
That was in 2002, 2004?
Well, no, the convention center, you all went to the ballots and voted on a police station, all of that. The one thing that didn't pass the ballot was the convention center.
Right.
And that's because they wanted to put it on the mayor's father-in-law's property on the Mines Road.
So
that was back in the 90s. And you all passed everything else. You wanted a library. So we put it up to...
the bridge, a little bridge.
On the
west side.
Yeah, it was the police station, the library, the rec centers,
Right.
the airport, all of that. In fact, we were the most progressive city council ever. And yet we fought like crazy when we were there.
Yeah.
We bickered, we debated, but and then we got an international bridge built. And you're not going to get one built in our lifetime.
Yeah.
They're not. Now they're in the business of building walls.
Yeah.
They're not going to, there's no way they're going to build another bridge, especially with the feud that was going on between the county and city. And that's
Right.
part of my platform, that should be a city function, not a county function. So that's what got me involved. It was that convention center. Then I tried to apply for a job, I remember, at LISD as a budget analyst. And they did not hire me because of my position on the convention center.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Then I tried to apply as to be the bridge director here for all the bridges, and they wouldn't hire me because of that either. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to get into politics because this is just complete.
That was back in the...
Yeah, that was in the, right before, because I got elected in 94, so that was like in probably 80s. And I graduated in 80, so it's between 80 and 94, all of that was happening. So then that's how I got into it.
Right.
That's what got me. It was that anger that got me going. I said, you know what, this whole place is just one big machine. It's one big machine. If you don't pay to play, like you don't
Pay to play.
pay to play, they come after you, and then they try to they try to get you fired from your job, which, they've done when I was in Austin. They've tried, they've done that to me. They don't let you exercise your First Amendment right. And that is really, probably the most important principle in the Constitution, because without that, there's nothing else. That is a foundation. And that's what they try to do. They muscle you here. So then I just started seeing, I saw, I get into trend analysis, and I saw what was going on with all the appraisals and everything. And I said, I'm going to get into it. It's about, what really got me into it is when they ran out, when Tano and Galo basically ran Leo Flores, the county auditor, out of the...
in 2000.
And I have it on Facebook there. I have what they did to him, right? And I told Leo, I said, I'm going to make you famous because I put him on the internet. And I mean, it's gotten a lot of hits. And then that's when I said, I'm getting in. I don't like the way they treated him. I said, this is enough. Enough is enough. And I got into it. I decided to enter the race. And then, I came up with this whole, truth and taxation concept. It's in the Constitution. I said, you know what? I'm just going to go in there and freeze taxes 4 years and let them say that I can't do it. Right. And then I probably know taxation policy better than any of them. They still keep lying to everybody they didn't raise your taxes. They did raise your taxes. Yeah. They raised them. I don't care what they say. They raised your taxes because they're in control of the budget and the tax rate. And they're supposed to use really legally, they don't have to legally, but they have to use the effective rate. The effective rate is the rate you're supposed to use, but they don't. They keep using the same rate year after year, and since that rate doesn't change, they say, well, since it didn't change, we didn't raise your rates.
Well, then, let me do this for our public. You're talking about there's 3 different rates.
Yeah.
Could you explain to us what they are?
There is, every year what they do is they have the rollback rate, and that rate, if you hit the rollback rate, automatically you have to go, you cannot go higher than the rollback. The minute you hit the rollback, that's it, you're blocked by law.
Right.
And really they can go higher, but then they face a petition.
The tax rate will be set up by your commissioners.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the proposed rate, which is what they're proposing this year.
Right.
And then they have the preceding year's tax rate.
Right.
And then you have the effective rate. That's the key. The effective rate is the one they're supposed to use, which is the lower rate, which that rate brings in the same amount of revenue that you brought in last year, minus new value, which is an increase in the tax base, and
there's 3 different rates you're mentioning.
Yeah.
And for the public, maybe you can.
And there's really 4 rates. There's 4 rates that by law they really need to put on this public notice.
And they do so every year.
Every year, and the city does the same thing. Mm-hmm. However, the school districts, they operate under a completely different law.
Right. But so when they're placing this, explain to the public what the rollback rate is.
When you hit,
how that works.
The rollback rate, you have, okay, let's talk about the proposed rate. The first rate is a proposed, what they're proposing to adopt this year. Then they have to tell you what they taxed you last year, which is another rate. And usually the preceding rate and the proposed has always been the same. They've been doing that for almost every year. And then you have the effective rate. The effective rate is the key rate. That rate is the rate that brings in the same amount of revenue you brought in last year minus new value. And then you have the rollback. If you hit the rollback, you can't go above the rollback by law.
By law.
Because,
By
you know,
statute.
you cannot get taxed more than 8%, plus then
They
there has
kicks in an
debt.
election
Yeah.
and other things come in.
But they never want to use the effective. So what they do is they use last year's rate again. And they say, well, we didn't raise your rate. Yes, you didn't raise the rate, but you still raised my property taxes. Why?
Right.
Because the appraised values keep going up. And so they try to bring the appraisal. I'm going to make the appraisal district irrelevant. I really don't care about the appraisal district. Well, I'm going to care about it in terms of how it affects the other taxing entities, but if they all followed my suit, if they all followed my lead, they'd be irrelevant. They'd only be good for like when you buy and sell property.
Why do you think they do that? Is it because the public is just not aware about this issue?
The public's not aware of it, and they're being disingenuous. You know, they're basically, I just call it the way it is. They're just liars. People say, we can't call them that. That's exactly what they are. They're liars. I call it the way it is. They're
But
lying.
when they do that, they're raising millions of dollars
Oh,
more
yeah,
than the year before.
Oh, yeah, they do. Like the year before, like what they did the last time is they went in there and they raised, last year, they raised an extra $6 million, $6,922,000. And with the new value, they brought in $8,259,000. You see, they brought in $70 million last year. You know, this is when they passed the 2007. They brought in 70. By not using the effective, because of the appraised value, they brought in 76 million. With the new value, they brought 78. They don't want the same amount of revenue. Why? Because they're not balancing the budget. They've never balanced the budget. They're a bunch of liars. And I got it straight from the top.
When you go to commissioner's court and you're a department head, they tell you you only have so much money to work with.
Yeah.
But in reality, they have much more to work with, but they never tell the public, or they don't tell the departments.
If the appraisals are going up, they're always going to have more. Because they don't use the effective.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
saying,
what I'm
because they
saying.
don't use that.
They keep using the same rate, so they're always going to have more. So really think about it. You know, the average family lives paycheck to paycheck. They don't get 9.5% pay raise. No. But you get taxed an extra 9.5%. The county taxed us this current year 9.5%. The new proposed rate is 7.51%.
We're going to take a short break at this point, and we're going to come right back with Poncho Casso. We're going to talk more about his Truth in Tax program and some of the waste that's going on in the county. Welcome back. We're here with Poncho Casso, who's running for county judge, and he's talking to us about his proposal in lowering taxes. Right now, you're suggesting to us a minute ago that we're actually raising taxes this year, that they're raising taxes, even when they're saying they're not raising taxes.
This current year, they raised our taxes 9.5%. For the new fiscal year, the proposed new fiscal year, it's going to be 7.5%. So they're going.
So you're suggesting for every $1,000 valuation, it's an increase in taxes.
Now they're going from $90. This year it was 90. Let's say it's $1,000, and now this year it's going to be $70. That's a lot of money for the average taxpayer. And then you add all the other local taxing entities. So what I'm proposing is I'm going to freeze everything 4 years.
Oh, so you're going to just recommend?
Yeah, that's my platform. I'm freezing taxes for 4 years. I'm going to use the effective, which freezes taxes for 4 years.
Good.
And you know, I'm challenging my opponent to come and debate me on that, and I challenge him to with a straight face to tell the voters that he didn't raise our taxes, because he raised our taxes 9.5%. People are losing their homes, and here's the newspaper to prove it. Look at that. It's all of this, foreclosures, and foreclosures. And that's just, you know, the tip of the iceberg.
Here's the Laredo Times paper that you're showing us.
From today.
From today?
From today.
Saying there's about literally 1, 2, 3 rows of sheriff sales happening.
Yeah. Yeah, so people are losing their homes. You know, people are hurting in this community, and it's gotten out of hand. So my platform is to help the working families of Webb County. That's what my platform is about, and I'm going to help them. And I know that, you know, and I think we'll prevail.
Have you heard from the Commissioner's Court? Have they said any? Have they responded?
Well, look the one thing that I must pat myself on the back is that they have all the
Yes.
taxing entities have
I
lowered their
have
tax
noticed
rate.
that this year they've
They've
all
rated
lowered.
like half a penny or 0.003. You know, they've done all this cosmetic, you know, smoke and mirrors to fool the people. But you're still getting a tax increase.
Yes,
Fine.
you are.
So you're not going to get taxed 8%. You're going to get taxed 7.8%. It's still a
I gotta
tax
ask you,
increase.
are we getting more government? Are we getting better service with more taxes that we're paying?
We're not. In fact, a lot of people say, what is it that county government provides other than the courts?
Well, the law requires that they just take care of the courts,
the jail,
the jail, and the highways, the
county roads.
The county roads. That's it. That's it.
That's it. You have
They're not
records,
required-
and that's it.
They're not supposed to be paying for rec centers. They're not supposed to be paying for business departments. They're not supposed to be paying for other departments that they have. But for whatever reason, we have them in the county.
Yeah, they're trying to act like a municipality, and they're not a municipality.
And we're not.
They're not.
We're not.
And they're trying to make themselves relevant and important. I'm going to try to make county government less intrusive.
Well,
I'm going to get it back to basics.
What is your philosophy about county government or government as a whole?
I think government should just provide the basic services like maintaining your streets, you know, paving your streets, picking up your trash, providing clean water. There's certain things that they're going to have to do, you know, community things like maybe convention centers, even though I'm against the current convention center the way it is. I think we need to wait right now because I think that all the governments really are fiscally basically bankrupt. I think they're virtually broke.
You pointed out earlier that every year we have a deficit in the county.
Well, this year it was $10 million, and that came straight from the auditors. It's actually in the auditor's report. You know that the auditor has a monthly report.
It's on their website.
Yeah, and if you look at their adopted, their adopted revenues versus their adopted expenditures, it's $10 million. It's straight from the auditor's report. I didn't make these numbers up. I want my opponent to explain this. You know, just explain all of this.
They're not supposed to be.
By law, they're supposed to balance that budget.
They're supposed to be a balanced budget.
That's right.
In Texas, all budgets must be
So all
balanced.
he's doing is taxing us to death. He's spending money like, you know, inefficiently. He gets his offices raided by the FBI, and yet this is his mantra. I didn't raise your taxes. I'm fighting corruption. And I did this while balancing the budget. Well, no, you didn't balance the budget. You keep raising our taxes, and your office got raided by the FBI. Yeah. That's his point. That's his three things he's running on, and I put holes on all of that already. Yeah. You raised taxes, you didn't balance the budget, and you got investigated. You're being investigated by the FBI. So all these three things. So I don't think we need 4 more years of, you know, yeah, more of the same.
Well, you hear it here, folks. Poncho Casso is requesting a debate with Taxation. The CV does come through. I'm looking forward to listening to that to see how you do with the tax issue, because it is just the tax issue alone is something that all voters want to know about, where our monies are going and how it's being spent. There's even some talk, I understand, about some Life Downs project that's going to cost
millions of dollars. And we
don't even know what the issues or what
they're not even putting it up for a voter referendum. Right. Why don't they let the voters vote on it? What are they?
When I was there as a judge, we wanted a detention center. We placed it as a referendum. We said, you know, it's going to cost us money, but we want the public to vote on it. So what happened? The public voted for it, over 70% in favor of the detention center, and we built the detention center. Part of the detention center was also to build a drug rehab, and that was in 1999. And the money's there for the drug rehab, but it hasn't been built.
Well, look at the jail. The people overwhelmingly rejected the jail.
But the point is that we took it to the
voters, and
if the public doesn't want it, we respect that. If the public wants it, then obviously we should do something.
And that's what I'm proposing: freeze taxes for 4 years. If we want to build something, tell the public this is what it's going to cost, and we're going to have to raise rates this amount and put it up for a referendum, and the people decide. But the way they're doing things, it's their way or the highway, you know, and it's not fair. It's not right. People are losing their homes right and left. You know, I've been campaigning where people actually don't have their electricity turned off. People actually calling me for if I have money to give them for food. You know, I mean, it's really people. There's a lot of poverty here.
There's a lot of poverty.
And you know, he's over there John and Tanro, you know, they married a lot of money, and that's, hey, I'm happy for them. But you know what? You need to have a little bit of empathy for the other people. Just because you're over there living in your $1.3 million mansion doesn't mean the rest of us do. You know, the average people don't live like that. So that's what my campaign's about. My campaign's about, you know, the working family folks that struggle every day to support their families, send their kids to school. And I'm going to try to make their life easier. And another thing I'm going to do that I already ran through the judges here, and they think it's an excellent idea, is I want to create a dispute resolution center. So that, therefore, if you're losing your house, you don't have to go and hire an attorney. We'll do it for you for free. Make sure you don't lose.
That's something that...
Instead of creating these business development departments and fighting, look how much money is already spent. I put it on
right now, if you go to court because of taxes, there's no way of being able to negotiate anything with the school districts or anybody else.
Yeah.
But that dispute center would certainly help.
It would help.
The public. At least give a chance to the taxpayer to sit down with somebody and say, let's see if we can work something out.
Yeah, it's not, man, people are buying their, and I hear a lot of people that are, God, there's some shyster, you know, people out there that are just taking advantage of these low-income families, and they just take their homes, and you know, and then they just rent them back.
How do you feel? I mean, once you become judge, do you think you'll be able to have a good relationship with the other commissioners?
Yeah, because you know what it is? They're going to follow a leader, and they know that my whole platform is taxation, or trying to freeze those taxes. They know that if they don't follow my lead, they will be punished at the polls. They'll lose. Every one of them will lose the next time around. All of them. Whoever doesn't follow my lead is going to lose.
But your lead is basically making sure that you freeze the taxes.
That's right.
And don't increase taxes for the public.
That's right. So if they go against that whole platform, and once you do that, all the inefficiencies are going to float to the top. You're going to see everything that's going on. The minute you stop feeding the beast, you've got to stop feeding the beast. Stop feeding.
Well, again, government.
And you'll see what happens. It'll all come. You know the expression. It all floats to the top.
Yeah.
It's gonna float, man.
Takes me to the other issue dealing with relationships and conflicts with the county. What about an ethics rule of some type with the
Ethics
county
commission? I know that it was brought up.